Today I'm here to give you guys my week 8 picks. Also give you guys some fantasy players to pick up from the waiver wire to add to your team as well. We have a Thursday night football, Vikings versus Rams. By the way, just because the spread is up here, I'm not betting on that. I'm just saying who I think is going to win the game. The Rams are getting healthy now. I think Cooper Kupp is supposed to be playing, and I don't know if Puka Nacua is supposed to be back or yet. But with the way the Vikings have been looking, and they just came off a huge loss as well, I think they'll play a great game and bounce back in this one. So go ahead and give me the Vikings. The Eagles are favored by 2.5 points. I think I'm going to go with the Bengals here personally. Overall has been playing amazing football, like MVP caliber type football. Eagles secondary isn't really the best, so I think he'll take advantage of that. And if Jalen Hurts throws a turnover or two, which I think he might do, then I think the Bengals will win by a pretty decent margin at that. The Ravens and Browns, even though Deshaun Watson is out and this Browns offense is probably going to look better without him. I mean, it is the Ravens. They look dominant once again this past week. Eric Henry is looking like he might win MVP. If not, it's probably going to be their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens here. Lions and Vikings are up next, and the Lions are favored by 10.5 points, and I think it's the right reason. Obviously, the Titans are one of the worst teams right now in football, and the Lions are one of the best, so go ahead and give me the Lions. We have the Cardinals and Dolphins. It's actually going to be very interesting because Tua is supposed to be coming back in this lineup, and although I do think the Cardinals are a really good team, they're just too inconsistent for me. Like, some weeks they look really good, some weeks not so much, so I'm going to have to go ahead and take the Dolphins. If Tua wasn't back, I'd probably take the Cardinals, but he is supposed to be back though. New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Just going to go ahead and say give me the New York Jets here. I thought they would have won last week in Pittsburgh. Obviously they didn't. Besides for the Texans, the next 5 or 6 weeks I think they have like a pretty easy schedule, so I don't know if they'll make it to the playoffs or anything like that because their record isn't looking the best, but I kind of think they'll make it on a run and this should be an easy game that they should win. Next we have the Falcons and Buccaneers, and I'm gonna be honest, before last night I was gonna pick the Buccaneers, but obviously Chris Godwin's out for the rest of the season probably, and Mike Evans is probably gonna miss this game as well. I do think the Bucs will be alright, but obviously not gonna be the same team. Go ahead and give me the Falcons sweeping them. Then we have the Packers at Jaguars. This is pretty easy as well. Go ahead and give me the Packers. Obviously it's a couple of hard games on here, but a lot of these games are easy. Go ahead and give me the Texans here. Next one is pretty difficult though. It is going to be the Saints and Chargers. I don't know if Derek Carr is playing. I don't know if Chris Olave is playing for right now. And so with those questions, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chargers, I guess. We have the Bills at the Seahawks, and the Seahawks just got a major win versus the Atlanta Falcons, and I do think they can win this game, but they're so inconsistent to me at this point. You start off the season 3 wins, and then you go back to losing 3 games, and then you beat a good Falcons team. Like, I just don't know what you are at this point. Bills have looked really good, especially against decent teams. We have my Carolina Panthers going up against the Denver Broncos. It's just so heartbreaking. Anytime I see those two teams, like, side by side, I'm still not over it, to be honest. I don't think the Broncos are a great team, but obviously the Panthers are one of the worst, so go ahead and give me the Broncos. This Panthers defense looks miserable. If you're a betting person, I will go ahead and take Javonte Williams over on like everything pretty much, whatever it is. This is going to be the Chiefs and Raiders, and I think up to this point I have picked like all of the favorites, and I need to pick at least one upset. Low-key, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Raiders as my one big upset. I actually don't think the Raiders are going to win, but I like to pick one every single week so I don't just go with the favorites. We have a game that was going to be good. They moved this from 1 o'clock to 4:25. That is the Bears versus Commanders. I'll say it should have been good because I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be out. They haven't ruled him out just yet, but they did say it's week to week, and usually when they say that, they're going to be out at least a week. If Jaden Daniels does play, give me the Commanders, but if he doesn't, then go ahead and give me the Bears. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys versus 49ers. Go ahead and give me the 49ers. I know both of these teams are supposed to be really good this season, and both of them aren't looking like that. I think it's pretty evident that the Cowboys are a lot worse than the 49ers, and if the 49ers lose this, it's going to get very, very loud in San Francisco. Our last game is going to be Monday Night Football. Who are putting the Giants on Monday Night Football like 5 to 6 weeks out of the season, like multiple seasons in a row now? Go ahead and give me the Steelers here. Everybody was questioning why to put Russell Wilson in when Justin Fields was looking good and getting his team wins, but Mike Tomlin, I'm sorry I doubted you. This was obviously a really good move, so go ahead and give me the Steelers. On fantasy a little bit, let's go ahead and get into my waiver wire pickups. First of all, we have McCole Hardman. I don't know how long you should keep him on your team, to be honest, but I do think he's a really good pickup if you need somebody because one of your wide receivers are on a bye or injured this week. Already ruled Juju Smith-Schuster out, so he's probably going to be starting. If not, he's going to get a lot of workload in that offense, and obviously, Patrick Mahomes does trust in him. I mean, he literally went to him on the game-winning Super Bowl drive. I don't know if he'll do amazing, but he should do something decent if you just need to rent a player for this 1 week. The next is somebody I just previously mentioned in my game picks, and that's going to be Russell Wilson. Obviously, he looked great as well. He's not afraid to throw the ball deep to George Pickens, and that's obviously going to do huge things for him and Pickens. Next up is another player basically from an injury, and that is going to be Jawan Jennings. He had a huge role in this offense earlier in the year once they starting getting a lot of guys injured, and now that Brandon Ayuk is injured and probably going to be out for the rest of the season, he's obviously going to play a huge part in this offense offense once again. And my last pickup is going to be Cedric Wilson. Deshaun Watson got injured and Jameis Winston DTR was in. He got a lot of targets. I think it was 9 to be exact. If you're struggling at the wide receiver position, you need to pick up somebody that just has potential. I think that's a really good one. For the last thing we're going to talk about is buy low and sell high candidate. First buy low is going to be Devon Achane. He's not been looking the best since Tua Tagovailoa got injured, and I don't think that's really a coincidence. With Tua coming back this next week, I think his stock will go up even more, so you better go ahead and get him now if you already haven't. Next up, we have a Chase Brown. He just had a kind of a dud week, to be honest. But the way he's been looking throughout the whole entire season, I could honestly see him turning into a running back 2 start like every single week pretty much. So you should go ahead and get him before those games start stacking up and his price goes even higher. I also have 2 sell high, and my first one is going to be my Carolina Panthers wide receiver Deontay Johnson. I'm not too fond about saying it, but I think it's the truth. Obviously, Deontay Johnson is that wide receiver one in the offense. He's had great games. It looks like the Andy Dalton resurgence is kind of going down a little bit. Really, I don't trust in anybody catching the ball except for Chuba Hubbard in the offense. Offense is really just too dysfunctional for me not to sell him high while the iron's hot. Last sell high is going to be Jordan Mason. I didn't think a lot of people were still high on Jordan Mason after his past like 4 or 5 games. He's not had the best amount of points. But I do go live like every single day to talk fantasy. Pretty much everybody in the live thought that he was like a must start. I had him on my sits because he was going up against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I guess that they still think that he's one of the best running backs right now. So while his name is still up there as high, even though he's not been doing the best in the past 4 or 5 weeks, I would go ahead and sell. And then you got Christian McCaffrey coming back, not this next week, but the week after next, I'm pretty sure as well. So I think you should go ahead and sell him too while he still has some workload in the offense. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. It is a little bit something different, but I just figured it's something that we could just talk a little bit more football with some schedule predictions and some fantasy talk as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to check you guys out next time. Peace.